Hi to everyone watching on YouTube. Jason here from Spiritualbabies.net. We're joined again by Rabbi Tovia Singer of Outreach Judaism, and there's a link under the. If you haven't got his books, Let's Get Biblical. If you haven't got these 2 volumes, you really have to go and get them. It's like having Tovia on your desk, which I'm sure for a price you could have, but this is like a cheaper version of having Tovia on your desk. So there'll be links under this video when it gets up on YouTube. So make sure you go and do that. I want to welcome you back to the show, Rabbi Singer. It's great to have you here again.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here with you. We actually just recorded another show earlier. It's always a blast to be with you. Very exciting, Jason. How is your health doing, by the way? How are you feeling, sweetheart?
You know what? It's all right. 2 weeks ago, I was in crippling pain, and today, just normal pain. Who thought I'd be grateful for normal pain? Normal pain is excellent compared to the alternative.
Okay.
But no, it's good. Thanks very much. So we just want to get a quick plug in. We're going to Israel in November, right?
Yeah, that's right. Big time.
So Rabbi Singer, myself, John Evander, Truth to You, and Ross Nichols from Roots of Faith. We're all going to get on a bus with some of you guys, lots of our friends, and we're going to go around the Holy Land and have an awesome time. If you want to get your seat on that bus, you can go over to truthtoyou.org and put a deposit down now. You should do that. It's going to be awesome. So Laurie Lard, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your surname properly, says, I have a question. I know we don't proselytize, but what if you have a friend who is a Roman Catholic and that friend is a genuine searcher for God? Is it wrong to teach them the rules of B'nai Noach?
We hear this a lot. We don't proselytize. I don't know where that comes from. Because my Bible says that the central role of the Jewish people is to proselytize, is to be a light to the nations. Now, the question is, how do we do it? I think many Christians, even listening to the show, are pretty embarrassed by the methods and the behavior that Christians have engaged in their effort to convert people at the edge of a sword. We don't need to do that. We kind of think that the message that we have is so special, is so pregnant with meaning, that you don't need to force anybody to do anything. I mean, if you gotta put a gun to someone's head, or put a sword to their throat, you're probably asking them to do something that they ordinarily would never do. Right? So what does that say about your message? Just think about that for a moment. So for example, when I go scuba diving, and I'm in Bali as an example, which is just about a 45-minute flight from where I am right now, very often my dive guides, because we usually dive there, and we do what's called muck diving. We're looking for little things, and you need a guide to show you how to find these things. Very often is a Hindu, and he tells me that tomorrow we have this offering or this sacrifice given to whatever god, some monkey god or something like that, and I tell every case I think about how I'm going to say it, and so on, but I share with them that there is one Hashem, there's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's just important that you do it in a way that's not offensive, that's not hurtful. It's important to understand the culture of any particular group, but we don't proselytize. That was invented by I understand why, because Jews didn't like that the church were holding crusades and inquisitions, but I don't think there's anything. I mean, the 10 Commandments, I am the Lord your God, you shall have no other gods before me, does not leave a lot of room for Hare Krishna. Now, if you saw somebody smoking a cigarette, right, wouldn't you say to them, and if you cared about them, it probably is not a good idea, you can really harm yourself? You'd probably say it in a way that wouldn't offend them. If you do that just so they don't get heart disease, so they don't get a stroke, so they don't die 20 years earlier than they should, wouldn't you certainly share the 7 Noachide laws, which include how a person should behave? But just be very careful. You know, the Torah says something very interesting. The Torah says, "Hocheach tochiach hasamisecha." You should surely reprove or tell someone you care about a mistake that they're making. And then the Torah says the sin should not be upon you. That's what the Torah says. But and that's understood in 2 ways. Number one is that if you see someone who's doing something it's not good for them spiritually and so on, and you're silent, you let them just do it. You bear the responsibility of their behavior. So that's on one level. But then there's the second level, and that is, be careful how you do it. Be sensitive, be thoughtful. In no way, you know, when I teach, when I lecture, I do shows almost every day. I try to present everything without ever holding back or watering down the message. And I think every listener who knows my teachings know that I've never been, you know, I always express what I believe, but I say it in a way that doesn't hurt someone's feelings. I try my best not to be hurtful. Not because it's like, oh, you know, say it in a nice way, and this way they'll do it. It's because I really just don't want to hurt people. I really care about these people, and I really don't want to offend them. You know, so and I think a lot of Christians are embarrassed by the behavior of Jews for Jesus, but they do things in a way that is extremely offensive. So no, there's no you just think of how to express to them that, you know, you're probably better off not engaging in this kind of relationship or not, so on. But take your time and get to know the person and share with them in a way that won't offend them, that won't be hurtful to them, and they know that it's coming from a good place. You know, one of the things about Christians is, and that was very helpful to me, is I like them. You know, and I'm not, and you know, if you've been watching any of my shows, listening to any of my programs, you know I mean that. I really like them. I care about them. That's not necessarily the attitude that missionaries have toward me, but I really care about them. I like them. And because I like them genuinely, and I understand where they're coming from, I have a good sense of what their faith is, I therefore am able to just speak to them in a way, hopefully, that's not offensive, and maybe that's been helpful. I don't know. I mean, you guys out there would be the judge of that. But so just be careful in how you say things. Say things with thoughtfulness and so on. Yeah.
And so when it comes to a relationship with God, if someone is doing something that you can see is harmful in their relationship with God, you're going to mention that. You're going to say, you know, you shouldn't do that. That's not the kind of thing he likes. This is the kind of thing he likes. It's up to you. I'm giving you the information. You're not forcing anybody, but it doesn't hurt to give gentle guidance.